Hello, I'm Rodney Fowler. These people here are my grandparents, Willie Oscar and Edith Jane Grant Fowler. I'm going to tell a story about his grandpa that I found in the newspaper in Fort Smith, Arkansas a few years ago. We've done a lot of research trying to find it. It took us several years to finally find out the real truth of how he got killed. And I'm going to read this. My mother went through a lot of it and helped me find it. We've probably been working on it for about 50 years, with help from a lot of other people. Gail Howell comes to mind. It's a cousin of my dad's. She went with us actually to Fort Smith when we found it. And so she's the main one that comes to mind right offhand because she was with us. And Carla's sister, Karen, and her husband, Doug Rather. They was with us a few times. We searched cemeteries and all kinds of stuff trying to find all this information. Actually, if you may know where William Henry's buried, Doug Rather, my brother-in-law, he's the one that actually found the cemetery that matches the name that we all have heard all of our lives where he was buried. But I haven't been able to research all of it to find out for sure that that's where it's at. Anyway, I'm going to read this story out of the newspaper, 1881. It's called A Sunday Murder. It says, on Sunday last, a disgraceful affair occurred in a prominent Garrison Avenue saloon. The unlawful practice of the back door of a liquor hell open on the Sabbath was brought out on a Sunday last in a fight fearful to contemplate. The unsuspected meeting of two uncongenial spirits through the medium of a back door entrance resulted in William Henry Fowler, that's my great-great-grandfather, dying with his boots on, and Alex Brimage being a guest of the authorities and having to associate in communion suite with the inmates in the U.S. jail for some time to come. It's crazy how they write, but that's the way they wrote stories back then. I've been to that jail. It's a kind of a museum now, and it was a nasty place. I can't imagine what they go through. And I'm retired from the Department of Corrections. So anyway, I'll go on. The circumstances of the affray are about substantially as follows. Brimage, in company with a friend, entered the saloon about 11:30 Sunday morning and was drinking a beer. Fowler came in and seeing Brimage, who, by the way, was anything but an ardent admirer of his, he, Fowler, having at one time appeared on the witness stand against a son of Brimage's who was accused of murder and afterwards released on account of insufficient evidence to convict him. By the way, his wife also, my great-great-grandmother, was a witness on that same trial. Her name was Mary Jane Lasker Fowler. Let's see. He said, offered to shake hands. Brimage refused and offered hand, remarking, I will not shake hands with no such gent as you are adding, you tried to swear away my son's life once. Fowler intimated in decidedly plain language that he was a liar, whereupon Brimage, seizing Fowler by the beard, bringing him a sledgehammer blow across the nose, completely smashing it. Then he proceeded to practice a few calisthenic fouls by kicking his aged victim several times. Fowler was busy most of his time trying to defend himself and get in a foul on his opponent. I can't imagine being kicked to death. I mean, that's terrible. But anyway, the star actors in the tragedy were finally separated, and Fowler was gathered up off the floor and conveyed to the court in the rear of the saloon. Doctors Bennett and Smith were called in and did the best in their power to save him. He said to the physicians, I'm going to die. I shall not see my wife any more. When asked if he would like her summoned, he answered, yes, tell her God bless her and to meet me in heaven. He died by himself. That's bad. He died at 12:12 on the Holy Sabbath in an unincorporated city of nearly 5,000 people whose laws are disregarded openly and unrestricted, in a drinking hell, killed by a frequenter of such places, died amongst the stench of foul beer and rot gut whiskey, surrounded by a mob of curious, unthinking lookers-on. No caressing hand, save those of the kind-hearted physicians, were there to remove the death damp from his brow. It's amazing to me how they write this stuff back then. It's so dramatic. But How you write death any different, I don't know. No minister of God to offer up a prayer or for mercy to him before whom he was about to make a sudden and awful appearance. The murderer stood about the back room of the saloon while his victim gasped his last, closely watched by a policeman, and when all was over was taken away to a felon's jail. The post-mortem was made by Doctors Bennett and Smith, who decided he died from internal hemorrhage and a rupture of the spleen. By the way, I got another article somewhere that says that they drained like 10 or 12 pints of blood that had run from his, from his busted spleen into his stomach or his body or whatever. That's a lot of blood. Remings was transferred from the city jail to the U.S. jail Sunday afternoon for safekeeping. The above was transcribed from a newspaper article in the Fort Smith Weekly Elevator, Fort Smith, Arkansas, dated Friday, September 2nd, 1881. The reporter is unknown and there was no byline. This was transcribed by my wife, Carla Fowler, and myself, Rodney Fowler, on July 30th, 2006. I've got another article also that said that his wife and kids was summoned. They went and picked him up in the wagon and drove him back to the Indian Nation to be buried. That's later stories, but I just wanted to add that to this. I guess that's it for this time.